Right. I, what we're about to release is basically a variant of, well, it's all the same archive platform, but bringing it together in a place-centric way so that we're delivering what Marlene's talking about. And Marlene, I have to say, you are probably the primary inspiration for this, because you set about a long time ago, basically trying to force the
Wait.
family archive it.
Yes, I did.
And,
Yes.
and we noticed. And interestingly, with my own archive, it resonated, especially when this is my family archive. I started putting in the village, my birth village, Little Shelford, which we obviously communicated about because we're neighbours ancestrally. And I found myself, like you, building this picture of this village as part of my family archive, but actually it could equally be a one-place study about the place. So this will be our first outing, as it were. This is the homepage. You'll see there's no family menu at the top. The people related to this place are all over here. I've built up this demo on Cambridge. It's still on our test servers, our staging server, but probably the first iteration may go live on Monday. It's annoying because I'm going to have to recreate this on our production. Anyway, so you see how we've got individuals and families listed, and I think we'll probably do a list view as well without the images, but they're not the central piece. You can build out their families. I mean, like in Little Shelford, the blacksmith, this goes back generations, so you can build out that tree. But fundamentally, if I go home, I'm in Cambridge, and so here's my homepage is the history of Cambridge, and within Cambridge there are lots of places. So here we are. This is actually the new mapping function. You can see I've got a list of places down here, and I can actually whiz around without going into the full screen. But I can go full screen too, and it is bigger. So there you go. And I can switch the 3D flyby on like that and start whizzing around. And crucially, those are linking through to the actual piece that's been written in the archive. So if I'm going to start at Cambridge, we've got lots of places. I've written stuff like that. So King's College, here's King's College. Background of King's College. Within King's College, there are places. So the King's College Chapel is within King's College. There's a piece on King's College Chapel. I went there the other day. I don't know, and you saw I posted in the All About That Place thing that there's this column where my babysitter, when I was a little kid, used to take us in, and she would say that these scribbles here, H and AB, were Henry and Anne Boleyn, which as a child completely believed her in King's College Chapel. So you've got a piece on King's College Chapel. So places within places. And if I go into media, so maps become, at the moment we put it in media, but maps become something altogether more significant. So I can open a map as an entity in its own right. And you'll see what I've done here is I've stitched on top an 1836 map. So I'm going to go down to the jail. There is the jail. Right, let's get a 3D flyby. Okay, King's College, King's College Chapel. But I'm doing it on an old map. And that's the jail, which sits above the sports centre now, because it was demolished in 1878. What we don't have, which will come in very shortly, is a slider so you can change the opacity. I actually have to go into edit mode to do that. But I'll slide out. I'm just manually manipulating that. If I can dismiss the list now. You didn't have that before. Marlene, you can dismiss that list. So I go into edit. I've got my list. If I activate the map, I can. So this is this original 1830. And what I've done is I've stitched that onto what went behind. So you've got all these tools here where I can add pins and shapes and all sorts of things. Let's do exit. So I'm going to demonstrate. If I do create map, Cambridge, year I'm going to use, but let's go to Cambridge. That's a little bit fiddly, but what you can do is I'm going to go and find a map I haven't used before. Go with 1881. Right, so I've got this map, and you'll see I can drag it around, and it has these two markers. I've been working on Cambridge a lot, so what I like to do is it's going to snap that internal red marker there to that external one there. So if I go to drag that over, I've worked out that if I stick one on Magdalen Bridge, next to my favourite pub in Cambridge, the Pickle, which is just there in case you're interested. And I go over to the map, and right, that down to the bridge, which looks there. So it's a little bit fiddly. It's like you could do with more screen. But we get that. And then let's take that blue one. I'm going to stick that on the junction with Parker's Piece. So even by 1880, whatever this is, the jail which was there is gone. Let's go over here and find the blue bit. So the blue bit up here. Snap that over. And then if I click snap, it's lined those up. And if I play with the slider, should be able to see, like follow the river line or the road line. When I remove it, it's perfectly overlaid. So now I have a map saved for whatever year this was that I could then start adding places to. So you see, you can add a pin and then say this is Barnwell, write a bit of stuff, add an image, and so on. You can add in things that you have in your archive. So I've got King's College Chapel. So I go King's College Chapel. It's got a location for that, and it just automatically added that onto the map. This is basically the town of my childhood. I mean, I was born down here in Little Shelford, around here. Grew up in Great Shelford. I'm now sitting in Stapleford, which is here. So this is all my backyard full of stories. We have Duxford Airfield just down the road. And one of the things I absolutely adore about this place is that every day Spitfires go overhead. You hear them rumbling along, and you just imagine they could be coming back from some sortie. Yes, right. And funny enough, actually, while I'm wishing on, I went to the Eagle pub, which is the second oldest pub in Cambridge, on the way to King's College, actually. And on the roof, in one of the bars, there's graffiti for all the airmen during the Second World War. They'd come in and they'd put graffiti on the ceiling. Anyway, let's put that back there. Save. Let's just open it again. Okay, so now it's snapped into place. So if I go King's College, 3D, jump in there. But that King's College is actually the section on King's College. So I can open King's College from the map, go into it. Now I'm in the King's College section. And we will, so you can add any place, occasion, as an entity on the map, provided it's got a location on you. And that map, if I was to, having fixed it as I did on here, if I was to create another map, and let's create it. If I was to go, I want to add that, I want the starting point wants to be that same map, and I choose it, zoom in on it, but it knows where it is, it's fixed. So you can use it again and again and again, but that map image is fixed now geographically. We'll do, yeah, and this is the starting point. So I'm sure we'll build layers so you can flip up and down maps through the ages and all sorts. But it's obviously quite a powerful thing. And then you'll be able to annotate it and draw lines on it and do this, that, and the other. And crucially, one thing that I wanted was, so you haven't got the jail on that one, but let's say you had the jail. I go edit, use the map. Yeah, I might have some old building like that's the University Sports Ground. So I can put a shape around it. And I've created an item that you could then see on top. I could add an image and blah, blah, and then you'd be able to link it through to an article that you write about it. So in that way, you can get really old maps and start putting in buildings that aren't even there anymore and build up a cluster of items that you can see on top of what's there today and make them into entities that you write about with images that you might have from like those postcards that they don't exist anymore. Well, going to read. Oh, I've done Nathan album. These are the Cambridge night climbers. So I had this book that I showed you at the beginning, where the students in the 30s would climb all over Cambridge colleges as mountaineering routes. They took pictures of it, and they were called the Cambridge Night Climbers. So I started building. I thought I'd written an article, but there you go. This is the old jail I found. So that again, using an old map, and we were able to locate that. And down here is an image of where that old jail is. So I'm building this one-place study of Cambridge, and you can see how it's fundamentally place-centric. Just quickly go to, if I go like King's College, people, it's got the people that I put in Alan Turing there. Let's go places again where I go. Gonville and Keys, people, Stephen Hawking's, John Venn diagram fame. Just going to have a look at some other places. Trinity. Any prizes for most famous scientist who went to Trinity? Anyone? Anyone? Sir Isaac Newton. That's a great place to do a one-place study about, especially because I want to obviously demonstrate it, because it's just full of these people who people are familiar with without them being public living people. And crucially, you can invite people in. Obviously, it's not family-centric, so the family archive knows who your family members are. You can invite friends, but fundamentally, it's going to give you a list of your relatives to invite, whereas this works for a select group of people, maybe about a local history group, people doing a community project. And really excitingly, Mia Bennett at Gloucestershire Family History Society, we're going to do a project starting in November where they're going to a place and we're going to map out the churchyard and link it to all the monumental inscriptions of the people. And then Gloucester Family History Society are going to approach the community and see if they want to pick up on their ancestors and research the places within that community that they're targeting that. So that's really exciting development. So it can be a community project type one-place study, or it can be your own personal, it can be public, it can be private. And this is the first iteration. It will, first of all, get rid of some of the bugs I shared with you, but it will also enhance and will add to it. And you guys will give us feedback. I know Marlene will give me lots of feedback.
We'll just see if there's any further questions before I do that. Yeah, Marlene's making a point that one of the great things about weare.xyz is the ability to do just one thing at a time. Make it visible when you please. I like that. So are there any questions for Simon on the new features?
I mean, unmute yourselves, just have a chat. It's not formal. If you want to just say hello.
I noticed that when you made a new map, you were in the United States, and yet I know you're in the UK. And I find it a little tiresome that every time I make a new map, I'm in New Zealand, but my point of interest is in the UK, and I have to scroll around the world and I have to zoom in right back to the same place every time. So how come you were in the UK and the US? Is that where your testing server is? When you went to make your new map?
I think currently it zeroes in on 0 lat, 0 long. But when I made the new map there, I mean, it's a good point. It's on the list to actually, it should zip over to where the one place study is centered. So even if you have to do it the first time from like get Cambridge on there, one thing it needs to do is say, come on, start at Cambridge. So it will do that.
It would be really nice to be able to do that, because for every time you want to use a location, you have to go around the world.
Well, when I added that map and it stitched it on, so another on our list is, well, it just put it on, but it put it on the other side of the world, so I had to go and find it. But those are the teething. They are just simple little teething things. There we go.
So Val has a question for you, Simon.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. I'm just wondering, I have a log from a ship's journey that went from England round to Australia, and it has the latitude and longitude points each day of the journey. Is it possible to plot that on one of your
Yes, you can put
maps?
the lat long in and it will find it.
It will?
Absolutely, it will.
Okay.
And do you know why it'll do that? Because I think Marlene, you requested it.
Thank
Wasn't
you.
it you?
Oh, yes, yes, because I was using the old Ordnance Survey maps to find my very specific places, and I couldn't recognize them on the world map that's provided in WEA, so I needed the lat longs to actually, otherwise I wouldn't know where they were. Yeah.
And as a result, we decided to show the lat long, even when you don't do it that, you do it the other way around, so that you would be able to take those away. So I think they were useful.
Very, very handy. Very handy.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Just maybe that's the catalyst to get Val into We Are. Come on over and have a